Hey everybody, Diggs here. It's another beautiful day out here in the Pacific Northwest. It's Saturday morning, just rolled out of bed, and I was thinking about what video to do today, and I really wanted to talk about Auronn, Yuna, and Tidus, kind of as like a post-op, right? So today we're going to be digging in and discussing how much I like them, whether I think they're really viable, whether they're future-proof, and what the best way I've found to build them is. Now, we're going to go ahead and we will start off with Yuna, because I think Yuna is probably the unit that people want my opinion on the most, and she's probably the most relevant unit. And Yuna is an interesting character because I think she brings a lot, and I think she is, to kind of quote, the people out there, meta-defining, right? It's hard to go anywhere now and not encounter a light composition utilizing Yuna, whether that's like Sakura, El Sorel, Warrior of Light, a 120 EX King Rob, right? Like, Yuna is going to be part of these compositions for a while to come, and she has a pretty powerful kit. Just taking a look at her kit, I think her limit break is really what sets her apart here, and I've really enjoyed using her limit break. It's really nice. The thing that is really frustrating, though, regarding Yuna is that she really has an AI that is focused a lot more on healing. So I've lost matches where if Yuna had decided to go on the offensive just a little bit more, I probably could have won that match. So in regards to Yuna, she's a great, powerful unit. I see her being like the new Ayaka, the new support unit. She can be frustrating as hell, though, especially when she doesn't use her techniques. I also think the ability for her to cast re-raise on the number one person in your party or the unit with the most enmity is pretty critical. I think, especially in class match, in auto class match, in any type of live PvP, it can be incredibly viable to basically send a unit forward, absorb a bunch of powerful attacks from the enemy. All of a sudden, the enemy is out of AP, and your unit's resurrected, and then Yuna, basically full heals them. Let's talk about sub-jobs, kind of what I've seen. Now, I personally have been running Yuna with sub-job Summoner of Spira, and I pretty much leave everything on except Prey. I have seen a lot of people running Kododama Wielder sub, and the big thing that I see with people using Kododama Wielder sub is that I do see Bursting Light being used a lot. I saw this a lot in auto class match, and this killed me quite a bit. And I think it's because of the unique range of Yuna and Yuna's survivability. It gets her in a position where she can hit multiple units with this. And if you're running a Yuna yourself, your Yuna is going to be entering into a cross-shaped formation with your units to try and cast Kiraga most of the time. The next thing you know, your opponent Yuna is going to come forward, pop Bursting of Light, and just like obliterate your entire team. Pop onto that, right? Like if you're running against any other type of light composition that is chaining with Yuna, this will kill you. And this has probably been the attack more than Yuna's limit break, more than Sonic Wings, that has killed me the most, is Bursting Light. So I think sub Kododama Wielder was not what I was expecting. I thought her sub job really wasn't going to matter too much, but I definitely think sub Kododama Wielder with Bursting Light does give her a certain sort of power. I haven't really seen her use Unevadable Pain, and Nimble Movement. Like any of these, I haven't really seen. I have seen Earthrending Pain. I have seen Yuna use this, and it wasn't very effective. So honestly, if you're going to run Kododama Wielder, I would probably just run Bursting Light and leave it on max. I personally run Moon's Crest for magic and healing power, and Dark Spirit's Blessing, which is raising spirit and dark resistance. I also run Aeon's Bond, which of course is the powerful self-heal that Yuna has. Other than that, not too much going on with my Yuna. I've tried out different compositions, and I have to say right now, I think the most powerful composition with Yuna, in terms of like a 3-man composition, is probably Sakura, Little Leela, and Yuna, or depending on the map and the class match, El Sorel, Yuna, and Sakura. Some combination of those. I personally run in class match, so the 220 or below class match, I ran Mariel, Yuna, and King Rob. I've also run Mariel, Yuna, and Warrior of Light. I just found that King Rob's new Vortex Render is really powerful, especially when paired with Yuna and the light attack up. So that's kind of what I've been running with my Yuna. I would say right now, Yuna is probably a 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 unit. I think her TMR is extremely powerful. And I think being able to put her TMR on other units as well, like it's great. It's basically a full heal, gives your units protect and shell as well. Like overall, Yuna has been amazing for me. And you know, the one place that Yuna really hasn't been amazing is actually on the Trials of Reckoning. And I actually think that Yuna as a PvE character is pretty lackluster. I think Yuna's real specialty is in class match, arena, PvP, guild battle, and I find her PvE kit is a little lacking. So that's kind of Yuna as an overall look. And when I'm thinking about, you know, our other units that we got, I'm thinking a lot about Tidus right now. Now, Tidus is a unit that is probably, I think, one of the most relevant units in the game, probably for a while. And the reason I think that is because we already have really powerful water chaining options. And you don't need a lot of water units to make it really effective with Tidus, right? All you really need is Glaciella and some, you know, maybe Krace, who's also a free unit. And you already kind of have that water chaining power combo that you really need. If you take into effect Tidus's limit break as well, with that has a 4 times hit limit break, that's very powerful. I really love some of the unique things we're seeing with Tidus right now, especially in Trials of Reckoning. I think it was Lock D. I'm not sure if it was him or not, but there was a YouTube video talking about utilizing espers, and recently I've been talking about utilizing espers in things like raids, where in our last raid, we were actually using Typhon to stun Golem. And that was actually something that reliably happened in multiple raid runs that I witnessed, right? So being able to see people utilize Esper summons now, particularly with the new Yuna staff, I think is really cool. And I think is one reason we should probably be getting multiple Yuna staffs. And I think the Yuna staff is going to be really underrated. And there's going to be combos, there's going to be setups in the future that, you know, if you can use an Esper reliably, it's going to be incredibly powerful, right? Being able to pop an Esper, you know, even 20% sooner is a huge deal. So I love to see kind of the innovation with Tidus. Again, anytime you have a character that has multi-chaining, limit break, a character who basically has 100% critical hit rate, I don't think I've ever seen my Tidus not critical hit. And I think there's also an element that people don't realize. When a unit is critical hitting, they also get more AP. And the fact that they get more AP, the fact that Tidus gets more AP, I actually haven't really needed to put bells on my Tidus. And I'm wondering if Tidus is going to be one of those like first melee units, for example, where you're never really going to have to run bells on him. I've seen a lot of compositions where people are utilizing AP buffs on Tidus, and I am finding myself wondering, you know, what if you invested in critical damage more? What if you invested in other elements, right, with him to bring out that critical hit rate? Because I don't think you need all that AP with him. That's kind of just my random thought process right now. But that's kind of what I've been experiencing, especially in the Trials of Reckoning. The fact that Tidus can run forward and one-shot one of the skeletons, which is basically a guaranteed crit, it has been very effective. And it's something that I've been looking at and testing with and messing with. His ability to slow, quick hit, haste ga. I think we haven't really seen the full utilization of haste ga yet. I have a feeling in the future we will see setups and combinations that utilize Tidus's haste ga for very specific compositions. And I have no doubt that we will be seeing that as well. I haven't really run Tidus as sub paladin. I am kind of interested though. I was reflecting on this earlier in the day, and I was kind of going out, getting coffee, and on my way back home, and I was really thinking about, utilizing Tidus as a defensive unit, while say Ildira, for example, sniped from behind, or Winter Victoria sniped from behind. So I'm really excited when Winter Victoria eventually gets her 120 EX here in the near future, kind of how I'm going to utilize my Tidus with her, and what type of a build I'm gonna build, because you have defense penetration and you also have critical hit rate on the other hand. So utilizing both of those to try and maximize or find a middle ground is really exciting build combinations, I personally think. Let's talk about Auronn, because Auronn is one of those units that I think a lot of people sleep on. And you don't need Auronn. I think that's the most, we're just gonna call it out right there. You don't need Auronn. What Auronn does really well, and I think Laswell is in this same category, is Auronn enables you to cap damage. It's very similar, I think about Auronn, kind of like I think about Brave Exvius units back in the day, where you had chaining units and then you had chain finisher units. If there was a unit that you would be utilizing Auronn for, Auronn would be a chain finisher, right? You would be a brawling based unit that's a chain finisher, and he's gonna pretty much always cap his damage. Now, this is relevant in some ways because he also has damage limit up on his ability board, so you're going to naturally be able to break that 9,999 damage with him without putting Two-Headed Dragon on. This is important for me. This is important for anyone who uses an ice composition. With ice units, you have such a variety of ways to decrease slash resistance, decrease ice resistance. Auronn is one of those units that when he hits, he will be hitting and capping out damage. Yunalesca is a great example where Auronn will just hit and bam, 9999, or more accurately, 12,500, and then you will see him use his multi-hit potentially for even more damage. I know on Yunalesca, my Auronn will use his multi-hit ability, and he will hit about probably 15 to 16,000, depending on where he's at, in addition to increasing the change to 2 times each for Laswell after that. So there's a variety of ways to use him. I think if you are just someone who's happy-go-lucky like nobody, right? You're someone who is I don't know, maybe a free-to-play player, or maybe you are, someone who can maybe invest in one special unit. That special unit, I would say, should probably be Yuna. It should not be Auronn, because Auronn is a very specialized unit focused on very specialized chain finishing builds. Not only that, you're going to have Gilgamesh, right? You're going to have Laswell. In both of those units, to build Laswell, you have to have a Purple Lightning, which is a raid piece of gear. You have to have Ice Brand for Gilgamesh. So to really bring out that strong ice power team, you need to have either been playing for a long time, or you've needed to have specially focused in on ice units. So I think for that reason, Auronn is very limited, but I also think Auronn is very powerful. I am also very curious, just looking at Auronn and thinking about the future, utilizing his Pugilist sub. I think Pugilist is a sub job that really goes under the radar, and I think a lot of people don't think about potential units that can chain fist. And I think Auronn having that capability, while also having a weapon that enables his fist attacks to deal a large amount of damage, is very powerful. And I don't think people realize how powerful that is, right? Most fist weapons are going to give you hand-to-hand damage plus 15, right? If you're getting a UR or MR or whatever it is. But Auronn's sword gives him ice attack plus 30, So basically all of his pugilist attacks are going to be modified by plus 30. That's pretty significant. That's more significant than hand-to-hand weapons that your pugilists are using in their main hand. I would almost wonder if Auronn right now is the strongest pugilist in the game. Of course, he's going to get beaten by Raldor, but I keep thinking and I keep wondering, right? Like, are we ever going to find a time where we're utilizing Christmas Venera, Auronn, Raldor all at once, maybe Ziza as well, as sort of a like group of 4 pugilist chaining team, right? Because you have Auronn who can increase defense penetration, you have Ziza who can now lower single target resistance, you can probably find some way to lower elemental resistance between all of them. Ziza also has steal time, right? There's so many different combinations of things that you can do. I really am curious about the future of Auronn regarding pugilist compositions. I said we would talk about the VCs, so let's go ahead, hop out, and talk about some of the VCs as well. The VCs, in my opinion, I think Steki Dane is actually very good and very powerful for water units. And I would say if you're someone who's going to be building a water unit composition, Steki Dane is a required card. The reason I say that is it gives water slash attack up, water unit critical hit rate up. You're also going to see water unit max HP up. I think this is the most important part, right? In terms of water unit slash attack up, like there's a lot of people who are probably thinking like, okay, that's not a big deal. Like what type of water units using slash? Like we don't really have that many, but that's not really true, right? You can, if anything, water units have a variety of slash abilities in their kits, particularly some of the more popular ones. In particular, I really wonder about Ildira being run with a Spellblade sub with this card. I actually think that would be very viable. And if you think about, of course, Ildira running her Spellblade sub, you can also think about being able to have access to Fire Killer, right? So Water Gut Blade with a 25x Fire Killer modifier on top of water unit slash attack up 35 is very powerful. I also think about other units like Tyrell, who's free. We also have Glaciella. Glaciella doesn't have too many water slash attacks, and she does have Shadowbind, she does have her ninja sub, and she does have Shuriken, which is modified by slash attack as well. So even Glaciella, who is a very popular water unit, can actually utilize this in some capacity. Probably the one everybody's thinking of though is Christmas Ramada, which of course very viable, and I could see being utilizing this. So I think this card is just very versatile. I think slash up is a universal trait that you're always going to want, and it's a significant slash up. It gives critical hit rate up and it gives HP up. It's just great. It's basically the oh god, I can't remember the name of it right now. The Solidus of water cards is how I would describe it right now. And I actually think that Solidus is probably the most powerful light element VC in the game currently, and I would rank it higher than Bahamut, just because I think Solidus has really, with the HP 25%, in addition to all the defensive benefits that it does give, in addition to the magical offensive benefits, it's just universally like, if you're running Yuna, it's going to be an incredibly powerful card, and you should definitely use it. Now, let's talk about a Place Unknown. And a Place Unknown is a card that I'm going to probably max, and I'm not sure that it's one that I'll always use with my water units. Missile attack resistance up is pretty good, dexterity up is always nice, and agility up for the individual unit is pretty good as well. So overall, it's an okay card. It also gives water unit accuracy up as a party ability when it's fully leveled. It's not something I am racing to complete. It'll probably have some use. Specifically, where I think it'll have some use is with the upcoming Christmas Victoria kind of rollout whenever 120EX Christmas Victoria comes out. have a feeling having missile attack resistance up, but being able to buff water units who are already resistant to Christmas Victoria is going to be very important. And I think if you're going to be going up against water formations like that, being able to have that missile resistance, have that accuracy, potentially have that accuracy in an upcoming light evasion meta. You might even be able to counter the light evasion meta with a water meta in terms of accuracy and damage and survivability. There's a lot to go by, and there's a lot to think about. Another thing to think about is missile attack resistance will also help you against Garvel a little bit, right? So there's a lot to think about, a lot to reflect on. I think if you are someone who's building water units, this is going to be the way to go, right? You're going to want to get these 2 VCs no matter what. I think, though, potentially we might see the power cap for water units run out fast. We do have King Mont coming in the future, so having access to units who counter fire is also going to be really good. It's a tough call, right? Because you also have to consider that 9S is going to be given out for free. 9S is going to be a lightning element spear user, which will just buff all of those lightning units even more. So we're kind of playing like the elemental shuffle game right now. And it feels like, you know, no matter what direction I might advise you or what direction I might advise other people to go in, whether you're free to pay, whether you're pay to win, everybody's playing the elemental rock, paper, scissors, right? And that's kind of how it feels right now. And I kind of wish we went back to a time where there was more rainbow unit compositions. But at the same time, this is also like a fun change up to the game. So I'm kind of curious how we're going to get out of this elemental meta. We know that kind of JP has stayed in it for a long time, and I'm hoping we see some changes that will maybe adjust that. Anyway, everybody, if you do want to support me, please use my affiliate link at dig.gs/coins. You can also go to dig.gs/offer as well, although I think we may be out of our special offer right now. And as always, everyone, have a great rest of your day.